Hello and welcome back to the Blackburn End podcast. And this is a Behind Enemy Lines, a preview of the upcoming Carabao Cup game against Stockport County. I'm delighted to be joined by Daniel. Daniel, do you want to just introduce yourself and the podcast and where we can find you guys?
Yeah, so I'm part of the team that do the Scarf Begara War podcast. We do a live show on a Wednesday that's available on YouTube and X and Facebook. And we also do a show on a pre-recorded show on a Monday that goes out on a Monday afternoon, which is basically a deep dive of the weekend's game. So it's more sort of like a review of the game over the weekend, and we sort of look at the tactics and the stats and the XG and all them things that put people to sleep, really. Yeah, and then we sort of like try and get other interviews and with the ex-players or current players or club officials, and sort of like try and sort of cater to everybody's needs, and especially those sort of exiles that live away from Stockport, and sort of try and make sure they're kept connected with the club.
Fantastic. Right, we'll get into it really, Daniel. So just a bit of a rundown of Stockport preseason transfers, how it's gone so far, and looking at your hopes and your expectations going into the new season.
Yeah, I mean, pre-season's been a bit of a weird one for us. Off the field, it's been really, really good. We've brought in 13 new players,
Wow.
three of them loan signings, I think it's five free transfers and five players we paid a fee for. All the fees have been undisclosed, but the rumour has it it's really about £1 million we've spent during the summer in total. Um, and the players they brought in are really good quality players with sort of bit of pedigree about them, or young, hungry players, or players that got Player of the Year last season for their previous club. So on paper, it looks really, really good. We had a good trip to Spain for pre-season, where about 600 county fans followed the team out to Pinatar. Really, really good. Good connection with the club and the fans, with events going on. We played Derby. We lost in the last minute, but I think overall we did really well in the game, considering the heat and everything out there as well. Off on the field, it's been a bit of a horrible one because we've picked up 9 injuries. So a squad of, I think, 27, 28 players, and we've got 9 of them out of the game for this Saturday. So it's a little bit of a struggle on that, but we had lots of injuries last season and we managed to sort of overcome it and sort of end up top of the table. We're hoping that that we can sort of get past the injuries, and sort of by October, November, we sort of got a full squad again.
So what are your hopes and your expectations, do you think, for this season?
For me, I've said all along, I'll be happy with a top half finish. So if we finish 12th, I'll be over the moon. To be honest, I'd love to have a decent FA Cup third round tie. Someone like going to Everton away or Tottenham away. I don't want to end up going to somewhere like Wigan away or something like that, or someone that or Barrow, or somebody that's we've always seemed to end up playing every season, going to Grimsby or something like that. Yeah, I want us to actually have. I mean, the last time we got a Premier League team in the FA Cup was during COVID, which we ended up with West Ham at home, which had to be played behind closed doors. So, and before that, I can't even remember when the last time we actually had a really decent tie. Obviously, we had Bolton Wanderers a few years ago, and obviously we beat them in the replay, which was sort of like a big game for us because we were still a National League team then, and they were a League One team. But yeah, it's that'll be for me a top half finish. I know the players and a lot of the club feel that that they can push on and maybe challenge for a playoff spot, and they're very ambitious of that. And the club are ambitious. They want the plan was when Mark Stott took over the club in 2020 that he wanted to be back in the Championship within 7 years. Well, we're in League One within 4 years. So he's got 3 years to get us from League One to the Championship. So the ambition is there to get us into the Championship, but like I say, I'm happy that you factor in the Dave Challoner factor as well. Dave's been brilliant for us. He's been brilliant every club he's been at. He's always finished in the playoffs or higher every season for every club that he's managed. Whilst he's been at counties, he's always managed this really good habit of putting long runs together. Last season, we equalled League Two's longest winning run, which was 13 games, which we equalled Luton's record for. When he took over us, when we were in the National League, he went over 20 games unbeaten. So he's got this habit of every season of putting sort of good runs of winning games or unbeaten. And I think in League One, in most leagues, I think you find if you're 15th and you can put 10 games together or 15 games together unbeaten, it's 7th or 6th very, very quickly. So I'm optimistic. I mean, like I said, I don't think we're going to. It's one of them seasons where we'll be looking upwards opposed to looking over our shoulders for sure.
Great. So, just any memories of Blackburn? Any views on Blackburn? Obviously, there's a club connection with my one true love, Matt Jansen, behind.
Yeah. I mean, I think for most county fans, especially sort of ones in sort of my generation, it will always be the Coca-Cola Cup third round when we sort of beat you at Ewood Park 1-0, and that sort of led on to us. It was sort of that season. It was sort of, some probably might say it's probably one of our greatest seasons in the club history, where we got to the Coca-Cola semi-final, lost 2-1 to Middlesbrough on aggregate, who went on to play Leicester in the final. We also, I think, Everton in the FA Cup as well. We ended up getting a replay and then ended up losing 3-2 to a last-minute goal to Everton as well. So yeah, that cup tie, I think it was a Tim Sherwood on goal. We won it 1-0. But it was the same season. I say we played West Ham, Southampton in the cup, Middlesbrough in the cup, Sheffield United in the cup. So it's one of them ones that sort of goes a long time in the memory. I think the last time I went to Ewood Park was probably the last time we played them in the league, which I think was 99. I think I can't remember, to be honest. But yeah, it would have been a championship. And like I said, I think we lost, but I can't even remember the team that played it. I think there's been a few crossover players in the years gone by. Players like, I think Sheffield Kuki played for you guys at some point, did he?
He did.
So yeah, it's been, but like I say, it's when we've dropped out of the non-league, it's sort of like teams like Blackburn and Huddersfield and Birmingham just seem like a distant million miles away when you're going to Colwyn Bay and North Ferriby and Solihull, and you try and look on the map to see where Vauxhall Motors are, then you realise it's not actually a place on the map. So yeah, it's like I say, 5 years ago we were kicking off a season in the National League North.
It's crazy.
5 years ago, so it's been quite a dramatic roller coaster. And I say, like with all clubs, we've got that momentum, we've got that feel-good factor. And I think, like I say, the club want to keep on sort of seeing how far we can actually keep that momentum really going.
I mean, fair play to you all, really. I think my memories of Stockport, I do remember that playing in the Championship. I seem to remember Aaron Wilbraham scoring from outside the box when we were having a terrible time. And equally, the Tim Sherwood own goal was under when the late Ray Harford had taken the reins from Kenny Dalglish, and we were having a bit of a shocker at that time as well. So yeah, you coincide with some not great memories for us, but yeah, I'm glad to see you coming back. So in terms of the game ahead, obviously it's a Carabao Cup. I expect that Rovers will make a number of changes. I think we've roughly got 2 11s. A lot of them have got youngsters, so I think you'll probably see a fair bit of rotation, to be fair, from Rovers' aspect. But what about yourselves?
It's a hard one because, like I said, we've got so many injuries at the moment. So I expect it might be an opportunity. The goalkeeper will change because we've got basically 2 number ones, Ben Hinchliffe and Cody Adai. So I think whoever plays Saturday against Cambridge for us will play. The other one will play in the cup. We've only got 2 fit strikers, to be honest, in Kyle Wotton and Louis Barry. So it's like I say, the selections get a little bit thin on the ground. I wouldn't be surprised if there's probably 3 or 4 youth or academy players that sort of get a run out as well. So yeah, it's a really, really hard one. I'm hoping there isn't any nastiness or bite, obviously, because we played you a few days ago last week in the friendly, and there was one of the loan players that just signed got obviously taken out, and he's out apparently for 2 to 3 months. So I'm hoping there isn't any best bite on that, but we're not normally that sort of team. I mean, fair play awards and stuff like that. We're usually the top or top 2 teams in them sort of awards, and Dave Challoner has them very sort of strictly to keep their heads in the game and on the game, and not to sort of like go out and try and give an advantage to the opposition in any way. So yeah, it's an interesting one. It's a bit hard with all these cup games. There's no pressure on it. Does it play it as an intensity? Do them fringe players take it as an opportunity to put a marker down for themselves, to show the boss to say that I should be starting in the next game, or do they sort of just treat it as like a pre-season friendly and we're all going to be asleep after 20 minutes?
Yeah, I think from our point of view, with it coming so early in the season, with a few players who have joined late, with most of our transfers have been done really late, so some of them won't be quite ready for tomorrow or Friday's game as we record. So I think a few of them will play. Obviously Lewis Travis, if he does play, might get an interesting reception. I think there's been a bit of back and forth on social media, isn't there? So in terms of
Crystal Palace fans have been more upset with it than actually County fans, to be honest. It is what it is. I think we've all seen the video. It doesn't look as bad on the video, I must admit, but it is a friendly, and the problem is, like most things, it's just sod's law with us at the moment. Like I said, we've got 9 injuries. And let's say another lone player that we signed, Michael Mellon from Burnley, who really excited about. I saw him last year at Morecambe, and he looked really, really good, promising. 20 years old, and he looks like he's 29. To be honest, is the physique of him. And he's played 30 minutes out in Pinatar, and then played 12, 13 minutes against Stoke, and bump. He's done his knee in. The rumours originally were saying it was an ACL, but they're saying might not be as bad as an ACL, and he might only be out for 4 months. But that's the sort of look we got. So the 3 loan players that we've signed, 2 of them are out already. For 2 months minimum to 4 months. And it's just how it is with football. We still have players coming back. So we just have to be confident in what we've got.
We'll not mention the team he plays for, but Michael Mellon, any relation to Mickey Mellon?
It's his lad.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah, it's his son. And like I say, we watched him in League 2 at Morecambe, and he looks a really good, promising lad. And same again, the players that we've brought in are all younger players. We've lost a few players, stalwart players that got us up from the National League in Paddy Madden and Anthony Sarcevic, Ryan Crowsdale. They've all moved on in the summer. And they've brought in players. Yes, we've lost that experience, maybe leadership in the changing room and stuff like that. But they're quite exciting, the players they brought in. And like you say, they've managed to bring Louis Barry back in from Villa on loan, which has obviously got all the fans exciting because he's when he was fit last season, I think he played 20 games and scored 9 goals last season when he was fit. So we're all excited about that. But like I said, there's a lot of players actually quite excited about. Lewis Bay, they brought in on a free transfer from Leeds United. This was a kid that 3 years ago Leeds paid over £1 million from Chelsea for, when we picked him up on a free transfer. And he absolutely looks different gravy compared to what we've got. He looks championship quality player, not a League One player. A player that Blackburn have been linked with, and same again, we thought Blackburn might have been in for him again this summer, is Will Collar. He's back to full fitness. He's had a pre-season where he didn't have one last season, and he looks really, really good. Same again, I wouldn't be surprised if a club like Blackburn or a championship club come in for him before the window closes, because I think, same again, he's another player that can easily play at a higher level than League One.
Right. Well, thank you for that, Daniel. I'm going to put you on the spot now. I know it's incredibly difficult because we don't really know the teams, do we? And it's obviously a cup game, but a prediction for the game?
I reckon it's going to be a draw and go to penalties.
I wouldn't be surprised, yeah.
You know, we had Sheffield Wednesday at home last year in the cup. We went 1-0 up very early, conceded in the 88th minute, and then that obviously there's no extra time; it just goes straight to penalties. So yeah, I think if there's goals, it's going to probably be in the first half. I think the second half, the tempo and the pace will drop right off, and it wouldn't surprise me if it ends up going to penalties.
Well, I'll be there. It's my first visit, so it'll be a nice. Everyone loves watching penalties, don't they? As long as you win, of course.
Well, I'll be up
right.
there. I say live in lower stuff, so I live, but I'm up obviously for Saturday's game, and then I'm staying up there for a week at my mum's, so I can get obviously the Blackburn game in, and then we've got the following Saturday we got a trip to Blackpool in August,
Nice.
which can't be snubbed. So yeah, so I'll get the 3 games in. Obviously, it's cheap ticket prices for Tuesday, which is good. The weather will be good as well, so it'd be nice and mild. So yes, hopefully, and a game under the floodlights is always better than
Always
an
adds to it,
afternoon.
doesn't it? Yeah. Right. Well, thank you very much, Daniel. And that was our Behind Enemy Lines podcast for the Stockport County away game in the Carabao Cup.
I've been a wild rover for many a year.
Perfect. Thank you, Daniel.